Hi guys, so today I want to talk about a book that I came across by chance and it has now turned into one of my favorite reads this year so far. So the book I'm talking about is The Lantern of Lost Memories by Sanaka Hiiragi. Sorry if I'm butchering that name, but that's the best I can do. So this is the book. It has a beautiful cover. It's Japanese literature. It's fantasy. It's a story about regrets, memories, about life and death, and looking back at your own life, basically. And it's a collection of short stories. There are 3 stories in here with the same overall theme, I would say. So the way I came across this book is I was in a bookshop, as I quite often am, and then I saw this cover and it very much reminded me of a book that I love dearly, which was Before the Coffee Gets Cold by Kawaguchi. And those of who know that book, Before the Coffee Gets Cold, is also a collection of short stories. And it's about this wonderful little idea that there is this cozy coffee, and within the coffee shop, there is one seat that can transform you back in time to relive one of your favorite moments in the past, or one of your most regretful moments in the past. And to me, just looking at the book covers, it had that very similar feel to it. Like if you compare this cover with Before the Coffee Gets Cold, I don't know, it felt very similar to me. So I was intrigued and I read through the plot. And I found that even in the plot has some similarities to it. And it's short stories. I love a collection of short stories. I love a short book. And so I picked it up and read it on a flight, and I was not disappointed at all. So if you do like Before the Coffee Gets Cold and that whole series, you will absolutely love The Lantern of Lost Memories. So The Lantern of Lost Memories is still fairly new. It came out in 2019. It's 200 pages, so it's a short, quick read. And its whole story, its whole plot is based around this wonderful idea that there is this Mr. Hirasaka, and he owns a photo studio. But his photo studio is a little bit special, and he has a very unique job. So Mr. Hirasaka's job basically consists of helping people who just passed away, who just died, to make the transition from the world of the living into the world of the dead. And for this he has his photo studio, and the whole idea behind it is so wonderful. It's so cute, actually, and it makes a lot of sense. And the whole idea is that whenever somebody passes away, they will come to one of the persons that is responsible for such a photo studio, such as Mr. Hirasaka. And when they arrive there, Mr. Hirasaka presents them with a mountain of pictures, mountains of photos from their lives. And basically there's a photo from each day of the life that individual, that person has lived. So it can be quite a lot of pictures. And the task that Mr. Hirasaka has, and that he needs support from the person that passed away, is to create a lantern of these memories from the pictures that that person has from his life. So the idea is that once a person comes into his photo studio, they have to select one picture for each year that they have lived. So they are going through all these pictures and they select the favorite pictures that they have. In the end, they will tell Mr. Hirasaka, listen, those are my favorite pictures from each year. And Mr. Hirasaka builds them a lantern of all these pictures. And that person then has the chance of looking through that turning lantern and reliving basically their favorite memories from their lives before moving on into the world of the dead. So it, guess it comes from that idea that, when you are dying or you have a near-death experience, that your life passes before your eyes, and that's here represented in that wonderful lantern of lost memories. And I'm sure that lantern has some sort of significance in the Japanese culture that I might not be aware of. So if one of you knows more about that kind of cultural background, I would love to know more about that. Please let me know in the comments below. But that's basically the job that Mr. Hirasaka is responsible for, and he loves that job. He loves learning about people, about their lives, and supporting them in transitioning into the world of the dead, basically. The twist here then comes when people that are entering Mr. Hirasaka's studio and they are selecting the pictures, they often run across a picture or a individual memory that they are very fond of, and then they find the picture and they realize it's been faded. And they get quite upset about it because it's a dear memory, and then why is this picture faded? And this is explained in the way that if you have a favorite picture in real and in your life, and you always take it out and look at it, it becomes used and faded over time, and that's the same thing that happens with those memories. So if that happens and they do want to, reinstate that picture, Mr. Hirasaka has a solution for them. And the solution is that they get a chance for one day, for one memory, for one picture to travel back in time. Mr. Hirasaka is accompanying those people to that situation, and they have the chance to relive that day and to relive that very dear memory to them. And they get a camera of their liking provided where they can retake the picture, and this way have reinstated or renewed their most favorite memories about their life and about themselves, and can choose to add this picture into the lantern of lost memories. And the interesting thing here then is this is what this whole book is about, because the book tells 3 individual stories about people that Mr. Hirasaka encounters, people that end up at his place, and those are 3 very different people in very different situations of their life. They have led very different lives, but they all end up at Mr. Hirasaka's place, Mr. Hirasaka's photo studio, and he does not judge them. He is very neutral. It doesn't matter if they have led a good life or if they have been a crook, a criminal, if they are young or old. He does not judge. He just wants to help them with this transition into the world of the dead and make sure they have the best possible lantern of memories to relive their life before they move on. That's the wonderful thing here. So for example, and I'm not going to spoil the stories or not going into the details of the stories, but for example, the first story about this wonderful old lady, 93 I believe, when he ends up at Mr. Hirasaka's photo studio, and she had this amazing life as a nursery teacher, just starting off in a very difficult period after the Second World War in Japan, after starting to rebuild the cities, and she is taking care of these children with very limited resources available, and it's a wonderful, touching, heartbreaking as well story, and the other stories are just as amazing and just as unique. So you never feel like you are reading something similar, although Mr. Hirasaka is always there. There's a lot about loss, about nostalgia, about memories in this book that makes you think about your own life, and it led me thinking as well. Well, what up until this point of my life be one of my most favorite memories? And it's very different, and it's very difficult to see a clear picture here. And I do wonder, and it makes you, this book makes you think about your own life and makes you wondering. I do like that idea that at some point you would end up at this photo studio, and it's a wonderful way to transition into the life of the dead. I think it's not the worst way to live this life, I would say, to be able to relive your favorite memories or your most dear memories. Now, what did I think about this book? Like, as I said in the intro, it's for me, this is absolutely amazing. I love The Lantern of Lost Memories, and it's one of my favorite reads this year so far. So for me, that's probably one of my first 4 out of 5 stars this year. And I seldom give a book 5 stars, but this was wonderful, and it deserves its 4 stars, absolutely. And I do kind of hope that there may be a chance here for sequels in the same way as we had with Before the Coffee Gets Cold, because there is so much potential here to, you know, go into more stories and more encounters that Mr. Hirasaka has with very different personalities and with very different people that he encounters. And I absolutely love that. But it's also a sad book, and probably one of the saddest parts is that, you know, he also starts wondering about himself, Mr. Hirasaka. Well, why am I here? How did I get here? And I think there's a lot of these questions that could be explored more than they have been explored so far in this book. So I do hope we may have a chance for a sequel here. Just want to show you the cover again. It's absolutely beautiful. So if something like this is in a bookshop, I just cannot walk by. I have to take a look at it and at least read the plot and what it's all about. And I most likely end up picking it up and spending a little bit more money again. But yeah, guys, so that was it from me for today. Let me know, did any of you guys read The Lantern of Lost Memories? What did you think about it? Let me know in the comments below. Is there anything similar that you would like to recommend to me? I'm always happy to learn about new books that I might love and like to read. So yeah, let me know. And then yeah, thank you for watching. Please subscribe to the channel for more videos like this. And yeah, thank you guys. See you next time. Bye bye.